Tom Miller found a crying orphan hiding in the courthouse basement at 2 a.m. The hungry 6-year-old had witnessed her parents' murder by traffickers. When the killers returned hunting for her, Tom faced an impossible choice: surrender the child or take bullets meant for an innocent girl. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Tom Miller worked 3 jobs to keep his son alive. During the day he cleaned offices. In the evening he delivered food. At night he worked security at the city courthouse. His 8-year-old son Danny had cancer. The medical bills were crushing Tom's soul, but he never gave up. Danny was all he had left after his wife died in childbirth. "Daddy, when will you stop working so much?" Danny asked from his hospital bed. "When you get better, son. Daddy will work forever to make you healthy." Tom earned $12 per hour at the courthouse. It wasn't much, but every dollar counted. He sat alone in the empty building, watching security cameras and counting minutes until his shift ended. That's when he heard the crying. At 2 a.m., someone was crying in the courthouse basement. Tom grabbed his flashlight and went to investigate. In the basement storage room, Tom found a little girl. She was maybe 6 years old, dirty, hungry, and terrified. "Hey sweetie, what are you doing here?" Tom knelt down gently. The girl looked up with huge brown eyes. "Are you going to hurt me?" Tom's heart broke. "No baby, I would never hurt you." "What's your name?" "Sarah," she whispered. "Sarah, where are your parents?" "They're dead. Bad men killed them last week. I've been hiding here." Tom felt sick. This child had been living in the courthouse basement for a week, surviving on nothing. "Sarah, are you hungry?" She nodded. Tom opened his lunchbox. He only had one sandwich, his dinner, but he gave it all to Sarah. She ate like she hadn't eaten in days. "Sarah, we need to call someone to help you." "No." Sarah grabbed his arm. "They'll put me in a bad place. Please don't call them." Tom thought about Danny in the hospital. He thought about being alone and scared. He couldn't leave this little girl. "Okay, Sarah. You can stay with me tonight. Tomorrow we'll figure this out." Tom brought Sarah home to his small apartment. She took a hot shower while he made her soup and toast. "This is where you live?" Sarah looked around the tiny space. "Yes, sweetie. It's not much, but it's safe." Sarah saw pictures of Danny on the refrigerator. "Who's that boy?" "That's my son Danny. He's in the hospital getting medicine to make him better." "Is he going to die like my parents?" Tom sat beside Sarah on the couch. "I hope not, sweetie. I'm working very hard to help him get better." Sarah was quiet for a moment. "Can I meet him?" "Maybe tomorrow." "But Sarah, I need to know, do you have any family? Aunts, uncles, grandparents?" "No. My parents said we were alone in America. We came here to be safe, but then the bad men found us anyway." Tom realized Sarah was a refugee child whose parents had been killed. She was completely alone in the world. "Sarah, you're safe now. I promise." But Tom didn't know that someone was already looking for Sarah. Someone very dangerous. The next morning, Tom took Sarah to visit Danny in the children's hospital. He told the nurses Sarah was his niece visiting from out of town. "Danny, this is Sarah. She's going to stay with us for a while." Danny smiled weakly from his bed. "Hi, Sarah. Want to see my video games?" Sarah had never seen a video game. She watched in wonder as Danny showed her how to play. "Sarah," Danny whispered, "is your daddy nice like my daddy?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "My daddy is gone. Your daddy is letting me stay with him." Danny took Sarah's hand. "Then my daddy can be your daddy too. He's really good at being a daddy." Tom watched from the doorway, his heart breaking and healing at the same time. These two children, both facing terrible things, were finding comfort in each other. Dr. Martinez approached Tom. "Mr. Miller, Danny's treatment is going well, but we need to continue the expensive medications. Are you managing the payments?" "Yes, doctor. I'm working extra shifts to cover everything." Tom didn't mention that he was barely sleeping, eating one meal a day, and behind on rent. All that mattered was keeping Danny alive. 3 days later, Tom was at his courthouse job with Sarah sleeping in his security office when 3 men in black suits arrived. "We're looking for a little girl," the lead man said in a thick accent. 6 years old, brown hair, brown eyes. "Her parents were killed last week." Tom's blood ran cold. These were the men who killed Sarah's parents. "I haven't seen any children here," Tom lied. "We know she's hiding somewhere in this building. Her parents stole something very valuable from our boss. The girl knows where it is." Behind Tom, Sarah was hidden under a blanket, listening to every word. "What happens when you find her?" Tom asked. The man smiled coldly. That's not your concern, security guard? After the men left, Sarah emerged from hiding, shaking with fear. Those are the men who killed Mama and Papa, she whispered. What did your parents steal, Sarah? The children, Tom whispered to the paramedic. Check my apartment. 2 children. Police found Sarah and Danny exactly where Tom had hidden them, safe and unharmed. At the hospital, Detective Rivera interviewed Tom. Mr. Miller, you're a hero. That evidence disc you recovered will put away a major child trafficking ring. I'm not a hero. I'm just a father who couldn't let evil win. Do you know what you did? You saved dozens of children from being trafficked. And you saved Sarah's life. Tom was weak from blood loss, but he smiled. Is she okay? She's fine. And she's asking for you. Sarah and Danny sat beside Tom's hospital bed, both children holding his hands. Daddy Tom, Sarah said softly, are the bad men gone forever? Yes, sweetie. They can never hurt you again. Danny squeezed Tom's hand. Dad, Sarah told me what you did. You're like a superhero. Tom laughed weakly. I'm just a dad who loves his kids. Kids. Sarah looked confused. That's right, Sarah. If you want, you can be my daughter now. Danny needs a sister and I need a daughter. Sarah started crying happy tears. Really? I can be your real daughter? As real as it gets, baby girl. Dr. Martinez arrived with unexpected news. Mr. Miller, there's been a development. The mayor heard about your heroic actions. The city is covering all of Danny's medical expenses as a thank you for stopping those criminals. Tom couldn't believe it. All of it. Everything. Danny will get the best treatment available and you won't pay a single dollar. For the first time in years, Tom cried. Not from pain or fear, but from pure relief and joy. 6 months later, Tom was fully recovered and back to work, but just one job now. The city had offered him a position as head of courthouse security with full benefits. Danny's cancer was in remission. The expensive treatments had worked, and doctors were optimistic about his full recovery. Sarah was officially adopted and enrolled in the same school as Danny. She was learning English quickly and making friends. Dad, Danny said one evening, remember when you used to work 3 jobs and we barely had any time together? I remember, son. Now we eat dinner together every night, and you help us with homework and we play games on weekends. Sarah nodded enthusiastically. And we're a real family now. Tom looked at his 2 children, one born to him, one chosen by him, and realized that the worst night of his life had led to the best life he could imagine. You know what I learned? Tom said. What? Both children asked. Sometimes when you help other people, you end up helping yourself too. Tom's story spread throughout the city. Newspapers called him the hero security guard and the single dad who stopped traffickers. But Tom didn't care about fame. He cared about the results. The evidence disc Sarah's father died protecting had exposed a massive child trafficking operation. Dozens of criminals were arrested and over 50 children were rescued. Mr. Miller, FBI agent Collins told him, without your courage, these children would still be trapped in hell. Tom shook his head. Sarah's father was the real hero. He died trying to save those kids. I just finished what he started. Local businesses heard Tom's story and wanted to help. A furniture store donated beds and dressers for Sarah's room. A clothing store provided her with a complete wardrobe. A toy store gave both children enough games and books to last years. Why is everyone being so nice to us? Sarah asked. Tom smiled. Because good people like to help other good people, sweetie. But not everyone was happy about Tom's heroism. In prison, the trafficking ring's boss was planning revenge. Marcus, Tom's old army buddy, visited with disturbing news. Tom, I've got contacts in the prison system. Word is that Viktor Kozlov, the trafficking boss, has put a price on your head. Tom felt cold. How much? $50,000 for you. $25,000 for Sarah. She's just a child. She's the witness who can testify against him at trial. He wants her silenced. Tom realized his family wasn't safe yet. Kozlov had connections everywhere, prison guards, corrupt cops, hired killers. What do I do, Marcus? Take the kids and disappear. New names, new city, new life. Tom looked at Danny and Sarah playing video games in the living room. Danny was finally healthy, Sarah was finally happy, and they were finally a real family. I'm not running, Tom said firmly. We've been through too much to give up now. Tom, this isn't about pride. These people will kill all 3 of you. Then I'll have to stop them first. Marcus stared at his friend. You're talking about war, Tom? No, Marcus. I'm talking about protecting my children. Tom knew he couldn't fight professional killers alone. But he had advantages they didn't expect. First, he had the community's support. Local police, FBI agents, and even former criminals who had been helped by the rescued children all wanted to protect Tom's family. Second, he had intelligence. Detective Rivera was feeding him information about threats against his family. Third, he had motivation. No one fights harder than a father protecting his children. "Dad," Danny said one evening, "why do you keep checking the locks on our doors?" Tom didn't want to scare the children, but he couldn't lie to them either. "Son, there are still some bad people who are angry about what we did to help Sarah. They might try to hurt us." Sarah looked frightened. "Are they coming for me again?" Tom knelt down and hugged both children. "Listen to me. I will never, ever let anyone hurt either of you. That's a promise." "But what if there are too many bad guys?" Danny asked. Tom smiled. "Then we'll have to be smarter than them." That night, Tom put his plan into motion. The first assassin arrived on a Tuesday. Tom was ready. The man tried to break into their apartment at midnight, but Tom had installed military-grade security systems. Alarms, cameras, and automated police alerts all activated at once. The assassin was arrested before he reached the front door. The second attempt came 3 days later. A sniper tried to shoot Tom through the courthouse windows where he worked. But Tom had convinced his supervisor to let him work from a different building temporarily. The sniper shot at an empty office while police surrounded the building. Viktor Kozlov was furious. His hired killers were being captured or killed, and Tom's family remained safe. "That security guard is making us look like amateurs," Kozlov told his cellmate. "It's time for a different approach." Instead of trying to kill Tom, Kozlov decided to hurt him worse, by targeting what he loved most. Sarah was in her second-grade classroom when the fire alarm went off. Teachers evacuated all students to the playground as planned. But this wasn't a drill or a real fire. It was a kidnapping attempt. In the chaos of evacuation, a woman approached Sarah. "Honey, your daddy sent me to pick you up. There's an emergency." 7-year-old Sarah had been taught about stranger danger, but this woman knew her name and claimed to be from her father. "What kind of emergency?" Sarah asked. "Your brother Danny is hurt. We need to go to the hospital right away." Sarah was scared for Danny, but something felt wrong. Tom had taught her to trust her instincts. "I need to call my daddy first," Sarah said. "There's no time, sweetheart. We have to go now." When the woman grabbed Sarah's arm, Sarah did exactly what Tom had taught her. She screamed as loud as she could. "Stranger! Help! This isn't my MO." Teachers and other parents immediately surrounded Sarah and the strange woman. "Ma'am, who are you?" the teacher demanded. The woman tried to run, but parents blocked her path. Someone called 911. When police arrived, they discovered the woman was carrying a fake ID, chloroform, and a gun. Detective Rivera called Tom immediately. "Tom, they tried to take Sarah from school. She's safe, but we need to end this before they try again." Tom felt rage like he'd never experienced. "They went after my little girl." "Tom, don't do anything stupid. We've got them on the run." "No, Rivera. They've escalated this to war. I'm going to finish it." Tom called Marcus. "I need your help with something illegal." "What are you planning, Tom?" "I'm going to visit Viktor Kozlov in prison." "Tom, civilians can't just visit federal prisoners. They can if they have the right connections and the right story." Tom's plan was dangerous and probably illegal. But he was done playing defense while his children lived in fear. Through Marcus's military connections, Tom arranged to visit Kozlov as a victim impact counselor, preparing for the trial. Viktor Kozlov was a big man with cold eyes and expensive prison tattoos. He looked at Tom with pure hatred. "So you're the security guard who destroyed my business," Kozlov said in accented English. Tom sat across from him, separated by bulletproof glass. "I'm the father whose daughter you keep trying to kill. That little girl cost me millions of dollars and dozens of good men. That little girl is innocent. She's 7 years old." Kozlov laughed. "Innocence is a luxury I can't afford. She's a witness. Witnesses disappear." Tom leaned forward. "Let me make something clear, Victor. If you or anyone working for you touches either of my children, I will destroy you." "You? A security guard making $12 an hour? What can you possibly do to me?" Tom smiled coldly. "I'm the man who single-handedly dismantled your entire operation while bleeding from a gunshot wound. I'm the man who has the FBI, local police, and half the city protecting my family. I'm the man who has nothing left to lose." Kozlov's expression changed slightly. "What do you want?" "Call off your dogs. Leave my family alone. Focus on your appeals and your life sentence." And if I refuse? Tom stood up to leave. Then you'll discover that sometimes the most dangerous enemy is a father protecting his children. Kozlov made one last attempt to hurt Tom's family, and it nearly worked. A corrupt prison guard smuggled a cell phone to Kozlov, who used it to coordinate a final attack on Tom's apartment building. 3 armed men planted explosives in the basement, planning to bring down the entire building while the family slept. But Tom had prepared for this possibility. He had moved his family to a safe house weeks earlier, and the apartment was under 24-hour surveillance. The FBI caught the bombers in the act. This time they had everything on video: the planning, the execution, and Kozlov's direct involvement through the smuggled phone. Tom, Agent Collins called that night, "It's over. We have Kozlov on federal terrorism charges now. He's never getting out of prison." Tom felt a weight lift from his shoulders. "Are you sure? Life without parole, plus conspiracy to commit terrorism. Even his appeals won't help him now." Tom called his children at the safe house. "Pack your bags, kids. We're going home." "Forever this time?" Sarah asked hopefully. "Forever, baby girl. The bad men can never hurt us again." 6 months later, Tom's family had settled into a peaceful routine. Danny was completely cancer-free and playing Little League Baseball. Sarah was thriving in school, speaking perfect English, and had been chosen as student representative for her grade. Tom had been promoted to city security director, overseeing safety for all municipal buildings. "Dad," Danny said one evening, "our teacher wants us to write about our heroes. Can I write about you?" Tom was helping Sarah with her math homework. "Son, I'm not a hero. I'm just your dad." Sarah looked up from her worksheet. "Daddy Tom, you saved me from bad men, you saved other children from bad men, and you saved Danny by working so hard to pay for his medicine. How is that not being a hero?" Tom thought about everything they'd been through, the fear, the violence, the uncertainty. But also the love, the community support, and the justice they'd found. "Okay," Tom said, "maybe I'm a little bit of a hero. But you know what makes me most proud?" "What?" both children asked. "I'm proud that you both learned to be brave too. Sarah, when that woman tried to take you from school, you fought back. Danny, when you were sick, you never gave up. We're all heroes in this family." Sarah hugged Tom tightly. "I love our family, Daddy Tom." Danny joined the hug. "Me too, Dad. We make a good team." Tom held his children, one born to him, one chosen by him, both loved equally, and knew that every sacrifice had been worth it. When Viktor Kozlov's trial finally began, Sarah was old enough to testify. At 8 years old, she was the youngest witness in federal court history for a trafficking case. Tom held her hand as they walked into the courtroom. "Are you scared, baby girl?" "A little," Sarah admitted. "But you taught me that being brave means doing the right thing even when you're scared." The prosecutor was gentle with Sarah, asking simple questions about what she remembered from the night her parents died. "Sarah," the prosecutor said, "the man who hurt your parents, is he in this courtroom today?" Sarah looked across the room and saw Viktor Kozlov glaring at her with pure hatred. "Yes," she said in a clear voice. "That's him." "Are you sure?" Sarah stood up in the witness box. "That man killed my mama and papa. He sent bad men to hurt my new daddy and my brother. But they couldn't win because good people are stronger than bad people." The jury was moved to tears. Several jurors wiped their eyes as this brave little girl stood up to one of the most dangerous criminals they'd ever seen. Kozlov was convicted on all charges. The judge sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. "Mr. Kozlov," the judge said, "you preyed on innocent children and destroyed families. But this little girl and her adoptive father proved that evil cannot triumph over courage and love." As they left the courthouse, Sarah asked Tom, "Is it really over now?" "Yes, sweetie. You were so brave today. Your parents would be proud of you. Do you think they can see us from heaven?" Tom looked down at his daughter's trusting face. "I think they can. And I think they're happy that you found a family that loves you." 5 years after Tom took Gunfire to save a crying orphan in a courthouse basement, his life had transformed completely. Danny was 13 and captain of his middle school basketball team. His cancer had been cured for years, and doctors said he would live a completely normal life. Sarah was 12, an honor roll student who volunteered at the children's hospital, reading to sick kids and bringing them drawings she made. Tom had become the city's youngest ever police chief, appointed after completing a criminal justice degree while working full-time. "Dad," Sarah said one Sunday morning, "my teacher wants me to write about immigration for a school project. Can you help me?" Tom smiled. "What do you want to say?" I want to tell people that immigrants like my first parents came here looking for safety and freedom. And when bad things happened, American people like you helped us. America is good because good people live here." Tom felt proud of his daughter's wisdom. "That's a beautiful message, Sarah." Danny joined them at the kitchen table. "Dad, are you nervous about your speech tomorrow?" Tom was being honored at the state capitol as Hero of the Year, an award given to citizens who showed extraordinary courage. "A little nervous," Tom admitted. "I'm not used to making speeches." "Just tell the truth," Sarah advised. "Tell them that families help each other and sometimes strangers become family." The next day, standing before the governor and hundreds of guests, Tom did exactly that. "5 years ago," Tom began, "I was a struggling single father working 3 jobs to pay for my son's cancer treatment. I was tired, broke, and scared that I might lose the only family I had left." The audience listened intently. "That night in the courthouse, I found a little girl who had lost everything: her parents, her home, her sense of safety. She was hungry, scared, and completely alone." Tom looked out at Sarah and Danny sitting in the front row. "I had a choice. I could call the authorities and hope the system protected her, or I could risk everything to keep her safe myself. I chose to treat her like she was my own daughter." Tom's voice grew stronger. "What I learned is that when you protect someone else's child, you're not just saving their life, you're saving your own soul. Sarah didn't just become my daughter, she completed our family in ways I never imagined." The audience began to applaud, but Tom wasn't finished. "The real heroes in this story aren't me. They're the doctors who saved my son's life, the police who arrested dangerous criminals, the FBI agents who rescued dozens of trafficked children, and the community that supported our family when we needed help most." Tom looked directly at his children. "But mostly the heroes are these 2 kids who taught me that love multiplies when you share it." Danny welcomed Sarah as his sister without hesitation. "Sarah brought joy back into our lives when we needed it most." The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. After the ceremony, reporters interviewed Tom about his future plans. "Chief Miller, what's next for your family?" Tom smiled. "We're going home to have dinner together, help the kids with homework, and watch a movie on the couch. That's what matters most, ordinary moments with people you love." "Any advice for other single parents facing difficulties?" "Never give up on your children. Work as hard as you can, love them as much as you can, and trust that good things happen to people who help others." "What about Sarah's immigration status? Any political message there?" Tom's expression grew serious. "My message is simple. America is at its best when we protect children, welcome refugees fleeing violence, and fight against human trafficking. Sarah represents the best of what immigration can be, a child who lost everything but found a new family and a new home." 10 years after a single dad took gunfire for a crying orphan, Tom Miller was preparing to walk his daughter down the aisle. Sarah, now 18, had graduated as valedictorian of her high school class and was getting married to her college boyfriend before starting medical school. "Dad," Sarah said as Tom helped her with her wedding dress, "I need to tell you something." "What is it, baby girl?" "When I become a doctor, I want to work with refugee children who've experienced trauma. I want to help kids like I used to be." Tom's eyes filled with tears. "Your birth parents would be so proud of you." "I hope so. But I also hope you're proud of me." Tom hugged his daughter carefully, trying not to wrinkle her dress. "Sarah, you're the most amazing person I know. You took the worst thing that ever happened to you and decided to use it to help other people. That's not just heroic, that's extraordinary." Danny, now 23 and a police officer himself, knocked on the door. "Ready, Dad? The ceremony's about to start." As Tom walked Sarah down the aisle, he thought about the scared little girl he'd found in a courthouse basement 10 years earlier. That girl had grown into a confident woman who spoke 4 languages, graduated at the top of her class, and was planning to spend her life helping other refugee children. She was no longer a crying orphan. She was a hero in her own right. At the altar, Sarah turned to Tom before joining her new husband. "Thank you, Daddy Tom, for showing me that families can be built on love instead of just blood. Thank you for taking bullets for a stranger's child. Thank you for making me your daughter." Tom whispered back, "Thank you, Sarah, for making me a better father and a better man. You saved me just as much as I saved you." As Sarah joined her new husband, Tom took his seat next to Danny and his wife. 3 generations of a family that had started with one man's decision to run toward danger instead of away from it. The crying orphan had become a confident woman. The struggling single father had become a community leader. The sick little boy had become a protector of others. And the strangers who had become family proved that sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin with the most terrifying moments. In the end, Tom Miller learned that when you're willing to take bullets for someone else's child, you don't just save their life, you discover the true meaning of your own.